You stand before a locked door. You have been knocking for years, sometimes loudly, sometimes with polite persistence. You have whispered requests into the keyhole and shouted at the hinges. At times, you felt you almost heard something move inside. Then silence. Then the same world. The phone on the other end rings, and all you hear is static. What if the door does not respond to pleading? What if it opens only to a particular sequence, a tone, a code spoken from a place that remembers the door's maker? The single thing I want you to take from this moment is simple. The sign that you've begun to access the next frequency, the fifth dimension, a shift in state of being, is not fireworks, not a sudden rescue, not immediate proof in the outer world. The first unmistakable proof is an inner neutrality. The frantic edges of desperation dissolve, and a quiet, sovereign calm takes their place. That silence, neither numbness nor apathy, but an unruffled center, that is the silent sign. If you are ready to test this line this week, type "I activate the monad" in the comments now and anchor your intention. Stay with me. I will teach you why your old method has not worked, how to recalibrate your approach, and how to run a short, safe practice designed to open the circuit. This is not a promise of guaranteed outcomes. This is training in a frequency and a posture. Many people report shifts. Use discernment, keep your responsibilities, and keep your care providers in the loop when needed. For generations, faith has been framed as pleading, ask, beg, bargain. That posture is honest. It springs from humility and need. But it often misreads the architecture of the system you are trying to move. Imagine trying to talk to a machine with a voice command in the wrong language, or dialing a phone with the wrong country code. You may be sincere, but the connection will never complete. What I'm describing instead is a different protocol: recognition, authority, and command. Not arrogance, but an alignment with a source that remembers you, the monad. Seen through this lens, many of the gospel scenes take on operational meaning. When Jesus speaks and the storm stills, when a voice calls Lazarus from the tomb, the teaching here reads those actions as someone operating from recognition and sovereign authority, issuing a concise command and releasing the outcome to the source. These are interpretive readings, not historical certainties, but they illuminate a method you can practice. We are using a Gnostic frame for clarity. Think of the monad as the origin point, the pure source frequency. Between you and that source sits a system. That's the demiurge and its guardians, the archontes, patterns and reflexes that have maintained separation. They are not moral entities to worship, but functional forces, mental noise, programmed doubt, fear that behaves like an immune response. When you shift frequency, these forces will notice. They will create resistance. That resistance is not your defeat. It is a sign that the system is responding. The work is to hold the frequency long enough for the code to pass through. Let's be precise. There are 3 keys you must learn and practice. Miss one and the circuit fails. Recognition. This is not an intellectual acknowledgement. It is a visceral, felt remembering. I am not only this body, this history, this small story. At a cellular level, you recognize origin. You feel the memory of the place that made the door, the tone the maker would respond to. Recognition reorients your posture from petitioner to witness. It is the turning toward the throne room within you. Authority. Authority here is not about dominance over others. It is the sober standing in the identity you remember. It is a reclamation of governance for your inner kingdom. When authority is present, your requests no longer feel like pleading. They announce. Authority reduces the dissonance between will and presence. It says, I speak from a place that knows how to steward this circumstance. Command. This is the minimal, clear instruction that aligns desire with the monad. Commands are concise because the system recognizes fewer, purer inputs. A long list of scattered wishes gets lost in translation. A short declarative statement, precise, present, and released, creates a focused impulse that the source can respond to. Those three keys, recognition, authority, command, are the code. They are not magical words. They are a posture and frequency. In practice, you will translate them into movement, breath, feeling, and concise speech. Do not treat this as a formula to weaponize. Use it as a way to recalibrate your relationship to source, to remember who you are beneath the conditioning. Before I give you the practice, let's anchor the method with two gospel scenes read as operational metaphors. Again, these are interpretive lenses, not doctrinal declarations. When you read the story of the storm being calmed, what this teaching sees is a figure who does not entreat the wind. Instead, the speaker recognizes an origin of authority and issues a one-phrase command: peace. The outer tumult responds. In the Lazarus story, the call from the tomb is not bargaining. It is a direct summons from someone who claims a prerogative over life and death. Seen through this frame, the emphasis is not on pleading, but on operating a certain frequency and then releasing. Why mention these stories? Not to make theological claims, but to model a posture. Whether you take them as parable, symbol, or event, they teach a method. The one who remembers the source speaks and the world answers. Not because of coercion, but because the command aligns the fractured circuit with its origin. Now, how does the old method fail? It fails when you try to climb back into the old posture of scarcity. Begging recruits fear, which tightens the nervous system, making your voice smaller and your field scattered. The demiurge, the pattern of separation, then amplifies that scatter, like static in a radio line. Doubt rises as an immune response. It will criticize you, produce delay, and create stories of failure. Do not engage. Recognize the pattern and return to the three keys. Here is the practical sequence. I will lead you through 5 steps: disconnect, dissent, resonance, speak, release. Keep your voice low when you speak the phrases, or say them silently if you must. The point is to practice cadence and posture, not theatrics. After you speak, immediately let go. Do not replay, analyze, or beg for results. Let the field do its work. Step 1. Disconnect. Intentionally remove yourself from reactive channels. This means reducing outer noise. Put down your phone's notifications for the next few minutes. Find a place where you can be uninterrupted. More importantly, disconnect from the internal commentary. Close the loop of reactive thinking by focusing on one steady physical anchor: the feeling of your breath at the bottom of your ribs, the contact of your feet on the ground, the weight of your hands on your lap. For several breaths, allow your attention to settle on a single point. Think of this as turning off extraneous circuits so the main line can carry the code. Step 2. Descent. Imagine an elevator or a stairwell that takes you from your head into the center of your chest. This is not metaphor alone. It is a guided attention. Breathe down into that space so that thinking slows and sensing becomes more vivid. You are creating a throne room within. In that place, you are present but not reactive. You are not suppressing emotion. You are bringing it into the heart's field, where it can be transmuted into signal. Step 3. Resonance. In the heart space, listen for a tone. It might be a felt quality rather than sound, a hum, a pulse, a stillness. The monad's memory is like a tuning fork. When you find that tone, allow your body to vibrate with it. This is recognition embodied. You are not fabricating anything. You are attuning. If this feels unfamiliar, do not force it. Keep breathing. Allow curiosity rather than expectation to guide you. Step 4. Speak. This is where authority and command meet. Speak short, declarative phrases addressed to the monad. Use present tense, concise lines. The language can be your own, but the structure matters. Recognition, claim of authority, concise command, and release. I will give examples. Pick the wording that lands in you and do not multiply phrases. Example phrasing set. General. Monad, I remember. I stand in my authority. Let this situation rearrange in alignment with source. It is done. Example phrasing set B for relationship recalibration. Monad, I am seen. I speak from my center. Let right composition arise between me and person. It is done. Example phrasing set C for inner shift. Monad, I return. I take sovereignty over this field. Let the old pattern dissolve and the new frequency settle. It is done. Make these lines your own in a few words, but keep them declarative and brief. Address the monad directly in the second person. Monad I remember, or monad I call, works because the posture is one of recognition and claim, not of coercion. The prayer lines should be short so the system can carry a clear signal. Step 5. Release. This is crucial. After you speak, immediately let go. Do not monitor. Release the need to know how, when, or where the result will appear. Releasing is not passive resignation, it is a trust practice. Imagine releasing the command into the current like putting a message in a sealed bottle and setting it afloat. The waiting is part of the protocol. Observe, but do not attach. You will be tempted to rerun the script, to tinker with the phrasing, to test the efficacy. Resist that impulse. The most common failure is repeated re-engagement. Each replay tightens the field and reintroduces the very doubt that blocks. Prepare now for the backlash. When you begin to access a new frequency, the patterning that has always held you in the old loop will not dissolve quietly. The archontes, the name we use here for those disruptive patterns, will attempt to reassert the old narrative. You may feel sudden anxiety, old fears resurfacing, or a wave of skepticism that sounds like your own voice. You may see outer echo patterns. Important others react with confusion. Systems you were part of change. Treat these occurrences as an immunological response. Name them. This is noise. This is the system pushing back. Do not debate the content with your mind. Labeling and returning to breath attenuates the alarm. Practical countermeasures. Practice micro-returns to the body when the doubt comes. Take 3 full, slow breaths into the abdomen, saying silently, "Not now." Or mentally register the thought, "That's the system," and then let it pass, like a cloud. Do not attempt lengthy inner conversations about why doubt is wrong. Those conversations extend the neural loop. Short, decisive re-anchoring is your skill. Let me describe the 3 broad signs that the line you just ran has begun to land. Many seekers report these patterns. None of them guarantees a certain material outcome. Each is evidence of internal reconfiguration and movement in the field. First sign, collapse. The old structure starts to fail. This might be an old contract expiring, an abrupt end to a relationship that no longer serves, a job that shifts, a belief that no longer holds. Collapse is rarely gentle at first. It clears space. You may feel grief or relief, or both. Understand collapse as reorganization, old scaffolding giving way so the new can arrive. Do not interpret collapse as punishment. It is a clearing. Second sign, echo or sync. Strange coincidences begin to occur. You think of a phrase and then see it. A person you'd been wondering about calls. Patterns align in a way that suggests correspondence. These are informational echoes, signs that the field is rearranging and that meaning-bearing patterns are aligning to your directive. When echoes appear, stay neutral. Note them, appreciate them, but do not hinge your sense of worth on them. Third sign, the silent sign, neutrality. This is the primary thesis. Neutrality is not indifference. It is the internal posture where you no longer vibrate from lack. You may still act, plan, and pursue goals, but the edges of emergency have smoothed. Crisis as a habitual amplifier of action is no longer your default. The inner weather becomes steady. You find that you can sit with uncertainty without the immediate flood of anxiety. When that calm replaces the itch to control outcomes, you have likely begun to access the 5th dimension's frequency. You will notice an ease in decision-making. Actions will feel less like survival tactics and more like coherent steps from a larger vantage. If you experience neutrality, practice returning to it intentionally. Do nothing dramatic to force proof. The temptation after neutrality is to test the system with extreme experiments, which invites unnecessary chaos. Instead, observe how your choices shift. Work from gentle curiosity. Over time, neutrality deepens into a sustained orientation. Here is a short guided practice you can run now. Do this once, then let it sit for days. Do not repeat it obsessively. The purpose is to plant a tone. Find a quiet spot. Sit comfortably. Put both feet flat and rest your hands. Take 3 deep breaths, each one longer than the last, drawing breath down into the belly. On the 3rd exhale, speak in a low, calm voice the following lines. Address the monad directly. Monad, I remember my origin. I stand now in the authority that is mine by right of being. I command alignment for state the short, precise intention in a few words. It is done. After the last phrase, close your eyes and exhale slowly. Release the urge to elaborate or argue. Return to the feeling of breath in your belly. Wait 3 minutes in silence. Then go about your day. Do not rehearse the lines repeatedly. Note any shifts, but do not obsess over them. A few clarifying cautions. If distress arises, panic, overwhelming grief, disorientation, that is not a failure but a signal to slow down and seek support. Use grounding practices. Reach out to a trusted friend or a mental health professional, and maintain your practical responsibilities. This teaching is not a replacement for professional care. If you are facing medical or legal issues, continue to follow professional advice. Do not abandon necessary treatments or obligations in the name of accessing a frequency. You will likely encounter social disorientation. People around you may not understand your new posture. That is expected. Remember, reorientation is sometimes lonely. Do not rush to convince others. Your inner work is not a platform for debate. Stay compassionate with those who resist. They are often still inside the old scaffolding and cannot see the new tone yet. Persistence matters. The circuit does not always close on the first attempt. Latency is common. The command passes into the system and takes time to reconfigure external arrangement. Some people notice immediate echoes. Others wait weeks. The key skill is consistent non-reactivity. Return to your breath, your center, and your recognition when anxiety returns. The work is steadiness. As you practice, refine your language. The more concise the command, the less the field has to translate. Think of the shortest, most precise phrase that captures the essence of your intent. Avoid long narratives in your command. The monad's line prefers clarity. Allow me one more interpretive example to anchor your mind. Imagine a ship captain who has always steered by fear. Storms become crises, and the captain fights each wave. Now imagine the same captain has access to a lighthouse that warns of shoals and a chart that remembers currents. With this map, the captain's posture changes from reactive to navigational. The waters may still be rough, but the captain moves with the force of knowledge, not panic. Recognition is the map. Authority is the captain's steady hand. Command is the turn of the wheel. The sea answers differently when you steer from that place. We have spoken about the system's resistance, the 3 keys, the signs, and the practice. Before we close, I will offer a short prayer line that you can use as an anchor. This is a devotional, not coercive language, addressed to the monad. Keep it brief. Speak it once, then release. Monad, I come home. Remember me. Restore the pattern. I claim my rightful governance. Let the silent alignment unfold. So be it. After speaking these lines, breathe out and return to ordinary rhythm. Do not analyze. Watch how your life rearranges in small ways, a thought stopping its repetition, a meeting shifted, an inner space opening. Those are not proof of guaranteed outcomes. They are evidence that you are operating differently and that the field responds. One last warning. This path can change your social world. Relationships anchored in your previous wound may resist or even break. That is painful and may be necessary. Honor the grief and seek compassionate support. Remember that such transformations are not badges of superiority. They are invitations to deeper integrity. Stay humble. Hold this work with tenderness. It is a reclaiming, not a conquest. If you felt that shift while listening, if the edges of your urgency smoothed even slightly, commit to one action this week that honors the new orientation. Perhaps it is a day without frantic checking, perhaps a conversation held from calm, perhaps a small boundary set with kindness. Small practices compound. If you want to go deeper into the mechanics of these codes, the patterns of the archontes, and step-by-step methods for stabilizing neutrality, subscribe and follow. In the next session, we will break one of the seals that holds the habit circuits in place and practice longer stabilizations for those who have already found their neutral center. You are not being asked to believe my words as doctrine. You are being invited to experiment with a posture, recognize origin, assume authority, and issue concise command, then release. If the silent sign appears, the neutral center, you have begun to access a new frequency. Let that stillness be your proof. Now, close with a private reclaiming if you wish. Speak once, from your center, to the monad in the language that touches you. Keep it short. Release it. Walk into your day without urgency, and watch what the silence begins to do.